Good morning and welcome to Stationery at 4. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Traveler's Notebook. This is the most used piece of stationery in my stationery toolkit. I primarily use it for planning and taking a few notes and things like that, but there's a multitude of ways one can use a Traveler's Notebook. And that's one of the most neat things about it, is that it can be customizable to whatever you need it to be. So I'll take a look at a bit of an overview, talk about what the Traveler's Notebook is. It's a notebook, obviously, but it's also a system, so I'll talk about all of that. We'll take a look at a couple of the inserts that I own, a couple of things that I use with it, and then I'm also going to share a few things that I don't necessarily like about it, but I've kind of just come to live with it just because I love it so much, and some things that you might want to consider if you're thinking about picking one of these up. So let's dive into the details. The Traveler's Notebook is a notebook and a system. And the reason I say that is when you purchase a Traveler's Notebook, it comes with the standard insert, it comes with the cover, and also there are, you might notice when you go pick up their Traveler's Notebook shelf, many different types of inserts, and there's also accessories, everything from the cloth zipper insert to clear folder holders to tabs that you can put on the inside or the back side, I guess, of your Traveler's Notebook. So it can be completely customizable to whatever you need it to be, and as such it becomes an entire system of different ways to use the notebook. So I've been using a Traveler's Notebook for, it's been almost 8 years now, I think. Perhaps more, closer to 7, maybe 6. Either way, I've had the Traveler's Notebook for about 5 years, 5 years plus. And the Traveler's Notebook is a system, as I mentioned. So a notebook and a system. Now let's just talk about price here as a starting point. $70 for this guy and $60 for this guy, which is the passport version. Here's the two sizes: the regular size notebook, Traveler's Notebook, and the passport size notebook. Perhaps meant to be carried in your pocket, as I tried to do, or in your note bag. Certainly you wouldn't want to carry this guy in your pocket. And they aren't sold everywhere. You'd have to be a Traveler's Notebook affiliate, I guess, to be able to sell their products. Traveler's Notebook is a company in Japan that makes the Traveler's Notebook here. Originally they stemmed from Midori. I think they've kind of become an offshoot on their own, still connected. In some way. I'm not quite familiar, and I probably should research that a little bit better before I started this video. But let's just call it their own company, the Traveler's Company, and this is the Traveler's Notebook system. And you can go online and Google the Traveler's Notebook, the Traveler's Company, and you'll find the Japanese store and their online website as well. And they've got a few North American establishments now, and then the affiliates or the stationery shops that are all connected who are authorized to resell their products. This is the Camel brown version here, and this is kind of the blue version, and I use this quite a bit in my pocket for many years, and which has developed this rich patina, and it's actually turned into kind of a nice dark green color. I also have a dark brown. This is the original Traveler's Notebook that I started with when I first bought the system here. I personally didn't like the dark brown so much, as over time it got really dark, and that's just something to consider if you're looking at the color options there. They do darken significantly over time. The regular size notebook here is 8.7 inches in length and about 5 inches, 4.9 inches in width, and the actual depth itself of the notebook here is 0.7 inches, but obviously that depends on how much you stuff these notebooks with. The thickness and the thinness is completely customizable dependent on the amount of inserts you put into it. And the passport size, its dimensions are about 5.3 inches long and 4 inches wide. Again, the thickness is about the same as the regular size in terms of the notebook itself. Just depends on how many things you want to cram in there for thinness. Or when you go to buy the regular size, it comes in a package with the notebook and a insert being one of these notebook style things, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it comes with a blank insert, so a blank notebook that you can stick inside right away, which has 64 sheets of paper, all at fountain pen friendly paper, about 80 grams, if I remember correctly. I'll again corroborate the details in the description below. When you go to buy the passport version, again, it comes with a notebook as well, but the notebook being smaller only has 32 sheets in there. The insert sizes are similar to the descriptions that I've just described here as well. The insert sizes for the regular ones being typically 8.3 inches in length, and then the width of the page, the actual insert here, 4.3 inches in width. The inserts, and I'll do a bit more of an in-depth review separately in a separate video about the inserts, they range from anywhere between $5 to $10 to $15 for some of the special editions. It all depends on which inserts you get. And the inserts themselves, you can get, as I showed you there, a dot version, which is one of my favorites to use, and this is 5mm spacing. Oh, and if I haven't already mentioned, that would be a good thing to do. These are leather covers, vegetable tanned leather. Every year, just to add on to this, every year they have special edition inserts that are released, special edition covers sometimes, as they have this year in 2022, and those can get a bit more pricey and neat as well in terms of the different offerings. By the way, this clip does not come with the Traveler's Notebook. This is an accessory from Superior Labor, and this is just a big brass clip that you stick in, and like I said, I'll do a separate review, but just in case you're wondering about it in this video right here, that's how I carry my fountain pens. This does not also come with the Traveler's Notebook. Another accessory, which is made by the Traveler's Company, again, does not come with the Traveler's Notebook. You'd have to purchase that separately, and I believe this was $30 to $40. I'll double check. Again, I'll do this in a separate video. And this is also not a standard offering, and this isn't actually even from the Traveler's Company. This is a page anchor, which I'll do a separate video on. So I've customized it heavily. I use it in a certain way in terms of my system. So let's do an overview of the notebook. I'm just going to actually grab the brown one here because it's empty, just to give an idea of what's inside. The notebook itself, notebook cover, again, it's just a leather cover. You open it up and you'll notice that there are these elastics here. So this is where you would anchor your inserts into, and that's the base of the entire package in terms of what the notebook system is. And it just wraps around in a hole, goes back out, and you'd slide your insert into that. We'll take a look at that in a second here as well. Comes with a page marker and a little cut in the leather where the elastic goes through, but where you can also stick your page marker in, and it just stays in there. This guy here, it's a nice finishing touch. It's actually just a little fastener for your elastics in the Traveler's Notebook system, and that's how they all tie together there as well in the page marker, so that just kind of clamps in. And they do sell repair kits for the elastics in case your elastics ever break. Mine haven't yet in the 8 years of use. If you find that they get too loose, mine haven't yet in the 8 years of use. And then on the back, this is where your elastic is to wrap around your notebook to keep it closed. And that's really it. in terms of the notebook. And then of course the inserts are really what make the entire system, obviously a notebook system, a stationary system, but where the real power of the travel notebook system comes in in terms of customizability. So let me grab my other notebook and we'll take a look at the inside here in a fully functional notebook in terms of the inserts. So I've got, flipping this open right now, this is a Travelers Company zip cloth zipper insert. Doesn't come standard in the packaging, but it is a fantastic carry-all, I think. And again, I'll do a separate review on this guy as well, and that just wraps in underneath here. So let's just take a look at the notebook system itself in terms of the inserts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dismantle my notebook in front of you. So I'm going to pull this guy out here. So when you get your Traveler's Notebook, you're going to only have one insert. And I've got two in here right now. And I'm going to even show you how to daisy chain multiple inserts into the Traveler's Notebook. So you'll have your cover and then your notebook insert. And the way to do this is you take your elastic here. Let me actually just get rid of this so that we're not distracting anybody. I'm going to move my page marker out of the way. You're going to take your elastic here and you're going to find the middle of your notebook. And you're going to slide it just like that. And that is the start of a basic Traveler's Notebook. Now, if you want more inserts, as I typically do, then what you want to do is take this back out. And I believe the packaging comes with one of these elastics here as well. It's just a standard rubber band, really. I wouldn't say standard, it's a longer rubber band. And you tie your two inserts together. So you find the middle of your book, wrap around your rubber band elastic, into that. Find your other notebook, find the middle of it, and then you take, I'm just going to move the net cover out of the way for a second. You take the rubber band and you slide your other notebook in. Voila! You've got two notebooks attached together. Now you gotta throw it into your cover. And you just simply slide it into the elastic there. Voila. Now you've got two notebooks inside your Traveler's Notebook. And then of course, now you want to get crazy with customization. Say you want to add one of these beautiful leather zippers in. Now the way I do it, just because I like to have my pouch in the middle, and by the way this is a zipper pouch, you can keep scissors and pens or whatever you want. I just keep that scissors and some pens. The way I like to do it, I'm probably not doing this the most efficiently, but I'm just trying to get this on the video. Let's just slide my insert in this way. And that is the extent of what I do for my Traveler's Notebook system. I want to talk about one thing that I don't like, and that is the amount of leather that's given in the traveler's notebook. If you take a look here, I feel like they could have given you more leather. And what ends up happening is the more inserts you put into this, the thicker this gets and the more the leather shrinks back. And when you take a look at it from the top down, you start seeing your notebook and other things sticking out. When I've tried to carry 3 and 4 notebooks in here, and what I've noticed is the thicker it gets. Let's just do this for effect. Let me grab one of my really thick notebooks. I'm not going to tie it in because I don't have another elastic band on me, but well, I guess I could. Let's just do it this way. Let's say find my middle again. We'll take the actual spine elastic there. I'm going to stick it in like this. Now it is beefy. And that's one which I have a lot of photos in. And putting that all together, you can see that the notebook cover really starts pulling away from your inserts. And what I don't like about this is that your inserts get more exposed to the elements. And if you're tossing this in your note bag, as I typically do, those pages will get scuffed and things like that. It's also a bit unwieldy in my opinion to carry that much. I used to do it. I used to carry 3 or 4 inserts at the same time. Let's just do 4, just to really highlight how much that middle insert really sticks out. And also how wieldy that is. Hey, power to you if you want to carry that much. Me, I'm a bit more, I've tried to be a bit more minimalist and stick to keeping it simple. Just decided to stick with the 2 because that's what works for me. I didn't like the idea of my middle notebooks getting damaged. So that's just one of the things that I don't necessarily enjoy about the Traveler's Notebook system. I wish they had given more leather, just more, and I think alternative companies out there, either the knockoff brands or ones that are trying to replicate the Traveler's Notebook system, do give you quite a bit more leather to play with so that you don't have this thing of the middle inserts sticking out like that. Now, that all being said, perhaps it's just minor. I personally am invested in the Traveler's the Traveler's Company brand and their journey. So I do think, for me personally, I just work with it, and the way I tend to use these things is just with 2 notebooks at this time. The other thing that I think I would like to highlight here is I feel like they could give you one more elastic in the spine. The elastic here that's connecting the 2 notebooks together, when you get into 3, 4 notebooks, you're going to have more and more of these elastics, and more of these elastics will have the notebooks sticking out at an offset from each other. So you're going to have, perhaps, let's say, if you wanted to do 2 more. So I'm going to stick in 2 elastics together. Again, I don't have one in front of me right now, but if I had another elastic and I slid this in, you're going to have more of an offset where these things will sit. So I feel like they could have given you another elastic here in the spine just to be able to play with in terms of inserts, and not necessarily have to rely so much on these guys here. Minor gripe. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but just something I wish they would consider. Not that they're ever going to revise the product here. I do think that there's a lot of value in saying when you've got something that's pretty good and perfect from your perspective, you might as well just stick it. Why reinvent the wheel? What the Traveler's Company tends to do is focus a lot on the inserts, which makes sense because that's where the customizability comes in. And then just to go back to the passport size, I like using the passport. It was quite nice. The only thing that eventually made me stop using it was the fact that I wanted an everyday carry notebook, and I wanted to put this in my pocket. It gets a bit bulky and a bit wieldy carrying this around in your pocket all the time, so I ended up just not using it. I might come back to it though. It's a beautiful leather cover to take a look at. Just to pull this back for a second, this is the a clear folder insert. This is a special edition. And, I'll just have a couple stickers and stuff like that. I'll talk about this again in another video, but that's just a bit of an overview with respect to what you can include from a customizability perspective, and how I use my Traveler's Notebook. It's more of what I would say a to-do system for me than anything else right now. You can get yearly calendar inserts here. You can get blank versions or the yearly versions that they release, but I like the weekly memo style. That's what this one is called, where you've got a weekly overview and a memo to write down a few notes. And then the other one that I really like in terms of inserts, my favorite, is the dot. In terms of my to-do, carry around, everyday carry around type of thing. So I like the dot for that. Now when I go traveling, and you'll see that in some of my videos here, I typically carry one of these watercolor inserts. I love the watercolor inserts. And I think it just gives you more flexibility in terms of the media that you want to use in the insert. For my to-do list, I just use fountain pens. But when I'm out and about and I have a nice scenery I want to capture, I typically use coloring pencils and watercolor. And this is also fountain pen friendly. I think the watercolor is a bit more versatile for traveling. Here's another one, which I'll do in a journal with me video. Again, just there's the fountain pen. Here's some watercolor, some sketching, that kind of thing, right? So for traveling, I love the watercolor insert. Now they also had a special edition a year ago. This is the B-sides and rarities. So every year they have some sort of special edition release on the inserts. Is it every year? Yeah, I think it's about every year. And last year I couldn't resist picking up one of these. This is called the accordion fold paper, and I just wanted to show it because it's really cool. This is watercolor paper that they included in a fold-out accordion, which I think is just really neat. Backside here as well. So when you do buy the notebook system, the cool thing is you can get special editions. There's lots of different options on how to use it. When I go traveling, I take a watercolor variation, stick it in here, maybe another notebook like the sticker release paper insert, which is another B-sides and rarities, another limited edition last year that they had. And I typically stick the two of these inside my notebook, and that's what I use for traveling. So traveling and to do, and that's really it. That's the wonderful world of the Traveler's Notebook. I've customized it with little details like the page anchor. I've just tied a little charm, I think that's what they call it, but this one in particular is the Tree of Life, which I picked up on travels many years ago, and I even include a charm on here, just like that.
The Traveler's Notebook also has a few alternatives out there in the market. There are other companies who are trying to create something similar, if not identical, in terms of the inserts that can be used within their covers, which I've talked about a bit briefly in this video as well. Not to say that the Traveler's Notebook system is the only one you can use, but you can take a look at the other ones. I prefer the Traveler's Notebook system just because I think the system itself is so cohesive. It's and encompassing with all the inserts, and they've got specials that come out every year, and I just feel like I personally am invested in the brand's journey as they're going through it. So there you have it. I hope that was helpful. If you do like what you saw in this video, please consider clicking on the subscribe button below. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Take care.